So this exercise, the idea is to guide you through getting ready for the next step. And I want you to do this before this warm up before the next planning assignment. I'm asking you to think about a location. So a place, an area. This could be, you can make some choices about scale. So this could be, I'm going to do an example of an area I walk. So my neighborhood or my neighborhood plus nearby neighborhoods. And you can do a neighborhood, a place where you're walking. You could also choose to do a drive, so like an area you drive through, if you drive more than you walk, right? Your trip to work, your trip to school, your trip to see relatives. You could also do a building. So one of the things to be aware of is you need a variety of locations. And so you also want a variety of kind of paths from one to the other. So I want you to think about where that's going to be for you before you start drawing, or before you start this. So if you haven't thought of that yet, you can pause and think about what that's going to be. But if you, I don't want you to think too long because I want you to just get started. So don't take too much time deciding what you're going to do. Just pick a spot and you can always revise it later. All right. So first thing I want you to do is just think of one location, one distinctive location. It could be like where you're starting from on your walk or your drive. So I'm going to pick this little free library in my neighborhood because it's a pretty distinctive looking object. It's a tree. Oh, and sorry, and you're going to draw this. So I am going to pick this little free library in my neighborhood, and I'm going to draw sort of what this little free library looks like. It's a tree stump with a hole in it that has that can open. Now, as you're drawing, I don't want you to get hung up on making sure it looks exactly like the real life thing, because I want you to think about what you remember about it. So we're gonna, sometimes when you're sketching, your sketches are kind of influenced by memory, right? So what you remember about a place or a location might not be 100% what it actually is. So I had my daughter start doing this with me, and she actually, for her, I said, think about a memory, like think about, she's going to start from her elementary school, and she's not in elementary school anymore. So I said, think about the first time you were at your elementary school. What's the most distinctive thing about that? And so she drew this. I don't know if I'm going to do it justice because I didn't spend time in it, but she drew this like cage thing that it's a toy at her school that like spins, so you can like sit in it, like a kid can sit in it, and you can see my memory of it is let's put a ponytail on this kid. My memory of it is different maybe than hers, but this thing like spins. I don't know if it's on like a point or something. I can't quite remember, but this cage spins. So this is her first, distinctive memory of her elementary school. And actually these two are close enough, so we'll link the elementary school and the little free library that I've drawn. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I want it to be a visual representation, and it could even be a visual historic, meaning it doesn't look like that anymore, but you remember it as looking that way. Now over here on my little free library drawing, one of the things one of the things you can do is if your drawing isn't looking quite how you want it to look, you can put like a little label, like play structure. And then you can, what does this actually look like? You can make some marks for yourself to check on this stuff later. For example, my little free library, how can you tell it's a little free library? Well, I'm going to make an adjustment to the door. So I'm going to stop having that door be closed, and I'm going to open it up. There's some sort of stained glass window. I forget exactly what it looks like, so I'm just going to make a version of a stained glass window, so you can tell that there is a window here. And then I'm going to put some books in here. So here's where that opens to, and I'm going to put in some books. Now, I'm not particularly worried about accurate scale. What I'm trying to get you to do is draw in some stuff that reminds you of this image this object. So I've put in the back door window. There's a door on the other side. So I might, with color and shading later on, I might help that be a little bit more distinctive, that you can tell the difference. But what I've got is a very distinctive object, even if it's a little messy right now. And then I've got this other one already done. You, if I went too slow for you, you might have moved on. But now I'm going to move you on, even if this first one isn't perfect. So I want you now to think of another spot in this area. So if you're in a building, move to the next room over, or a couple rooms over. If you're in a school, go from your classroom to the cafeteria maybe. If you're in a neighborhood, I want you to move to another location in the neighborhood. So I'm going to move towards the school, and I'm going to draw. There's a building. You know what? I actually can't remember what this building looks like on the top because I don't look up very often. So I'm just going to leave that as a question mark there. And I'm going to, cool. I'm going to, there is this one very distinctive part of this building, and I'm going to try to represent that. So if you're stuck on where to go next, how do you get home from this location? How do you get to work from, if you're starting at home? Do you go up the hill, down the hill, around the corner? Draw the next distinctive thing. So I'm drawing, there's a missing brick, a set of missing bricks here. So that's what I'm drawing. My daughter, on her second one, what she did was she drew a fence where this dog runs. So always by her school, there's this one fence where this one dog would run and run and run back and forth, barking at all the cars, but not at all the kids. My favorite way of walking next to a dog if they're not barking at us. So she drew that fence, and she might be planning to draw the yard or even the area, next to the fence where the dog worked on the grass, made it muddy. So I'm drawing this building here, and later on I can go check what the top looks like. I can't quite remember. My daughter reminds me that there's a flower painted in here. And now you may not be able to recognize these various pieces, but I'm pretty sure that people in my neighborhood would be able to recognize these ones. People who went to my daughter's school could probably recognize, children who did could recognize that. So it doesn't matter where these things are. Like these three things are not, you don't walk to this one, then this one, then this one. They're actually out of order. But what I want you to do is think about at least 6 to 8 individual spots along your walk, and I want you to draw those spots. You saw how much time I spent on these. These are not perfect, but I'm looking for distinctive images, something that'll remind you of that location. And it doesn't, as the example with the dog shows, it doesn't have to be the spot that is always the same. It doesn't have to be the whole building, right? This is a whole structure, but this is just a piece of a play structure, and we're kind of missing the rest of it. This is just a part of a wall, and I haven't even given the whole wall here. So I'm going to try to think of another spot on our walk, or in this neighborhood, or in going from one to the other, and try to think of an example. So I'm going to do, there's another little free library down the street from this one, and it is a pretty simple one, but it's true. Is that how the roof goes? Maybe, I'm not sure. The roof might actually go this way. Doesn't really matter. I don't care which way the roof goes, but what we're trying to make is interesting images that remind us of the actual location. So now that I've drawn that one in, it doesn't look as much like a little free library, so I think I'm going to revert to the other one regardless. I don't actually care what the real little free library looks like. This is what a little free library kind of automatically looks like, right? This reminds us of a little free library. And it's okay that this part of the drawing is messy. This is just sketching, this is just planning. Now this particular little free library is in front of a church. And I can't actually remember what the church looks like, so I'm just going to do a simplification of a church. It's a Christian church, so I'm going to put in a big old symbol. It's a pretty simple building, I know that. So I'm just going to put in, there's some steps in the front. There's some kind of door. It's a Christian church. There's some sort of ramp over here. It does not have to be perfect. And then I guess there's a tree there. So this is quite a simplification of this particular church building. And I can leave out the 3D. I don't think that added much to it. Now there are always lots of cats here, so I might include a cat, just so you can tell which church I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones that always has cats on the ramps here. Now, your view might be a little different than my view because I'm walking. So if you're driving, you might be giving us more information about mountains. We got a little white-capped mountain over here, and then there's that really big tree right before you turn down that one road to get wherever it is you're going. That was supposed to be an arrow. So what I want you doing for this whole thing is I want you thinking about and just trying out some things. I want you to finish drawing your 6 locations or your 6 spots, and I want them to be important to you, and I don't really care if they're important to somebody else. I don't really care at this stage if other people can recognize them. Because this is a map of your space and your life. I also don't want you yet, later if you want to, but not yet, I don't want you going to a map. To photographs. We'll go to a map later, and you are welcome to go to photographs later, but I want you to start from just what is the image in your mind. Now, my daughter was doing this along with me for a while, and so I wanted to share with you just some of hers to see. Space doesn't matter that much, but already we can recognize some, this is messy, but we can recognize bits and pieces. So for example, there's 2 little free libraries. You can tell my family walks to a lot of little free libraries. One of them, it has lights on it, like Christmas lights permanently on it, and the other doesn't. Looks like there's something hanging out the side of it. We've got a couple of distinct, different looking fences, and then this one has these things. I'll have to ask her what these are. They're very distinctive looking, whatever they are. We've got the dog fence, which I recognize because it has these little circles on the top, and she told me. And then this is a middle school in Yakima. I don't know if you all think about it, if you're from Yakima, whether you can recognize what middle school has a wall with arches in front of some stairs. And then I'm not sure what this one is, but it clearly means something to her, and she might. In revision of this design, she might decide what it is that needs to look like. Now, what she's got here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe, distinct different images that are going to be important in the project she's done. I, was telling you different things as I went along, so I have sort of randomly a mountain here, but I've got a couple of different locations in the area and in the school that are pretty distinctive, and then I'll have to continue doing some more. I'm going to pause this now, and when in the next batch of stuff, I want you to have already done this. You're going to submit this just as is. Messy is great. This is simply, did you do it? Do you have 6 locations? And I kind of want to peek at what you're starting on.